What was the moment you realized the bottleneck was never the idea, it was getting the video made?
Well, when I first got into YouTube, actually, I went to an event in London. This was my very first networking event. I'd never been to an event before. I was still
Wow.
inside the military, but I took like two
Mhm,
weeks off to fly to London
mhm,
to go to this event to meet a bunch of people. And I met an agency owner there. He ran a YouTube agency. He ended up
mhm.
hiring me to learn how to write YouTube scripts. And when I was going about the process of learning how to write YouTube scripts, this was, I believe, late 2024. There was still no content out there. There was still no
Mhm.
education around how to write YouTube scripts. No one was making YouTube videos on it. Like when I had gone search YouTube, how to write a YouTube script, all of the content was fairly basic. All of the videos were like 5 minutes long, 9 minutes long in terms of
Oh,
education. And of course,
mhm.
writing a YouTube script is very different from writing, let's say, an Instagram reel, scripting an Instagram reel, because an Instagram
Yeah.
reel is like bang, 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 60 seconds, maybe it's 150, 200 words. Whereas for a
Mhm.
YouTube script, a 10-minute video is 2,000 words. So
Yeah.
the length is significantly different. And when you tell someone who has, a lot of experience on Instagram or short form, and you tell them to go and write long form content, they're like, hey, like what do I do? How do I turn 200 words into 2,000 words? Some
2000
videos
words, yeah.
nowadays you would see is 3,000 words, 4,000 words, right? So it's mega long form content. And
Mhm.
I myself was trying to learn how to write these YouTube scripts, and there was no education on there. So I had to pull, information from, all of the greatest copywriters in the world, to learning how to build brand, and, learning like YouTube strategy, like combining all of those to come up with my own frameworks on how to write YouTube scripts. And at the start in January, I think it was January, either last year or 2 years ago. I've been running my channel for 3 years. Whenever I started my channel, I just started to post videos on how to write YouTube scripts, because there was a gap. I had to learn this stuff by myself. So I went
Mhm.
out and learned all of this stuff, and then I started creating videos on it. And it was only when I started creating videos on YouTube about how to write YouTube scripts, it got 10,000 views. My top video is sitting at 300,000 views. It's a full
Yeah.
YouTube script writing course. When I really saw it
Mhm.
take off, it was like, oh, like it all makes sense that there was a big gap in terms of
Mhm.
how to actually execute on an idea, because the idea is great, but
Yeah.
very few people know how to actually execute on it, especially on an educational level, or like a documentary or
Mhm.
educational video. Just putting
Yeah.
putting that content together, that's difficult. And that's when I really realized that, hey, like there's a big gap there, and I wanted to fill that.
So that's when you decided to build a company instead of just scaling your agency.
Yeah, so I mean, initially I started off with my agency because that was the most natural path to do it. That was the easiest to do it. I was already doing it for
Mhm.
the agency that I was working for, and then I went off and did it on my own. It just made more sense for me to
Mhm.
do it on my own. I scaled
Right.
that up pretty quick. Because I was the only one who was making YouTube videos on it. And once again, when you are like a category king, you're the only one who is talking about something. All of the clients flock to you, and they ask about your service, and then they buy, because there was really this big pain in the market for how to write YouTube scripts. And everyone was back then slowly understanding the importance of organic YouTube content to
Mhm.
supplement their existing paid ad strategy, or whether it's their content strategy elsewhere, where YouTube
Mhm.
was more of like the nurturing mechanism. So I scaled up the YouTube script writing agency
Mhm.
to a pretty fair point, and I was very happy with that. But that was also when AI was starting to get really, really good, right? Probably
Yeah.
around 3 years ago. Let's say that's when ChatGPT got released. It was like
Yeah.
not so good. It wasn't so good at writing, right? But
Right. Yeah.
by the time like Claude Sonnet, I believe like 4.5 or 4.4 had already
Mhm.
been released. So it was already slowly getting better, and you could already see signs of this writing
Yeah.
actually like getting good enough to replace email writing, being good enough to replace SEO blog writing, right? Right now, there's so much of
Mhm.
that. And I was like, hey, like I really want to get ahead of it. If Sonnet, continues to improve, or like Claude or the ChatGPT models continue to improve for creative writing, which of course they will continue to improve, then it makes sense for me to be part of a AI script writing YouTube
Yeah.
company.
And who is subscriber for? Is it just for creators? Is it for brands and companies, or for anyone interested in long form content?
Yeah, it's really for anyone who's interested in long form content and generating, high quality long form
Hmm.
content.
Okay.
Whether we have a bunch of faceless creators, so really
Hmm.
beginner creators who don't want to show their face, want to make
Oh,
documentary
interesting.
videos, listicle videos,
Hmm.
and they, use our subscriber technology to come up with video ideas, get a data back so that they know, like, hey, like these are actually working on YouTube, and you can probably twist and replicate this for your niche or for your channel. So they use it to come up with video ideas, and then they use it to write the script. We have our script agents, but then typically if you were go onto Claude, you would have to type a bunch of different prompts. We basically made that an agentic approach to writing scripts, where now it spits out it can spit out a 4,000, 5,000, 8,000 word script through like writing it in chunks and really verifying it, humanizing it, making sure that information is good, doing